Hey, what's up guys? I feel coming at you with another awesome Weiss Schwarz deck profile, and today we're going to be taking a look at another pure deck from the recently released Fantasia set. Previously we did do a deck profile for my pure Dead Alive deck, and today we're going to be doing High School DxD. Much like, as I said, of course, before we jumped into the Dead Alive profile, I want to let you guys know that this is a pure High School DxD deck, so we are only running cards from High School DxD or characters from High School DxD. As well as that, I want to mention, of course, that this is not compulsory. You can mix other cards from Fantasia into this deck to make it stronger, and I do recommend that you do that if you want a more competitive build. There are some cards in the DxD card pool which are quite strong, but of course, I wanted to play pure, and of course playing pure will have its weaknesses, so please keep that in mind. Now, this is the most consistent and powerful build I've found using just DxD cards. But yeah, if you mix, it can be a little stronger. So now that that's out of the way, guys, let's jump into it and hope you guys do enjoy it. And like I did for the Dead Alive video, the full translated card names from Heart of the Cards will be in the description of this video. Now, I'm not sure where all the artwork from this one comes from, so I'm not going to be listing that, but I'll tell you what the translation names are anyway. So starting things off at grade 0, we have 4 copies of the Akino. So Akino is a 3k beat stick. Though her first effect is she cannot side attack, and during your encore phase you can pay 1, and if you have no other rested characters you can rest her. So she's a really good card to drop early game as a beat stick, and then you go swing with her, or if you ram another one of your zeros and then you keep her alive on your opponent's turn. It's really good. Or if your opponent like shifts away one of your other grade zeros with like a stock bomb or a clock bomb or something like that. Definitely a decent card to run in the deck. Moving on, we have 2 copies of the Rias and Issei card. So it's a 500 0. When it attacks, we can give one of our characters +2/5. So it's a good way to pump up a lot of our characters, as a lot of our characters, particularly our level 1 climax combo, is an on reverse climax combo. So we have to be particularly careful about power. It's also worth noting that this deck does not have a Brainstormer. We have to rely on the 1/0 event. So we have 4 copies of this grade 0 Rias. It has 1500 power and 2 effects. Its first effect is it gives 500 in front, and whenever we play a climax, we can pay 1 and bond to the specific 1/0 event, which we'll talk about when we get to the grade 1s, from our waiting room. 4 copies because you need to get the event as quickly as possible, but this deck does use a lot of stock, so we do have to be very careful about that, which is why we have 3 copies of the grade 0 Azia. So once she's on the field, we can put 1 card from our hand immediately into stock, which is nice. And while she's reversed, unfortunately, we cannot pay 3 encore, but we do get to have a free stock from our hand, so that's very nice. One thing as we go on through the deck, I want to mention that you're going to see a lot of Rias cards and a lot of Azia cards. I'm pretty annoyed that, considering how many High School DxD characters there actually are, particularly where they're taking us, inspiration from all throughout the series for these sets, not just the anime, because obviously it's based on the light novels. They picked a lot of cards for Rias, and there's nothing wrong with Rias, but I would like to have seen the other characters get a lot more cards. So we have 3 copies of Gaspar. So Gaspar has 2 effects. His first effect is when your character is front attacked, you can sack him from your field to give one of your characters 1k power. So he's an on-field counter, which is cool. And he has the ability to pay to rest him, and you can salvage 1 character from your waiting room. So this deck does have some decent salvage, but pay to rest to salvage is quite costly, but hey, at the end of the day, it's better than nothing. And the field sack is really nice. Moving on to our grade 1s, we have our level 1 climax combo, which is the Rias from the trial deck. So she has 5k power, and the climax combo with our gate trigger is when she attacks, pay 1, pick herself and 1 other character we control. They get on reverse salvage 1. So like I mentioned, it is an on reverse salvage, so we have to be careful about power. She's only going to be 6k base, but if we do have those Rias grade 0s in the back row, she's going to be sitting at 7k, which is pretty nice. Of course, we do have level 1 beat sticks and level 1 bombs, which can be pretty useful as well, but obviously you play 4. The easiest way to build hand is with them. Moving on, we have 3 copies of the Rias beat stick, again from the trial deck. So she got 2 trial deck level 1s. So this card is simple, gets 500 for every other character that you have out on the field because of the traits. Really good card to combo off with our level 1 Climax combo, because chances are it is going to reverse something, because its base power is only 500 less than the Race Climax combo, but it's going to get a lot of power pretty quickly. Continuing on, we have 3 copies of Best Girl, Koneko Tojo. Sadly, she only got 1 card, but it is actually a pretty good one. So it's a level 1 bomb, and its other effect is when she's placed from hand to stage, check the top card of your deck, and you can either leave it at top or chuck it in the waiting room. Combos off really well late game with your level 3 finisher, which is check top. If it's a character, ping 1. That's your finisher. I'm sorry to spoil it for you guys, but they didn't really get too many good grade 3s in this set. You could easily run this at 4. I used to, but I really needed more attack, presence on the field, which is why I started playing the TD Beat Stick. But at the end of the day, it's up to you. I don't run the Zenobia card because she is a mandatory mill, and she can kind of make you mill climaxes that you might not want to mill, or make you lose cards you don't want to mill because it's a mandatory mill. So that's a bit of the reason why I don't run her. But, if you want to run everyone, please feel free to do so. Continuing on, we have 2 level 1 counters, so it's a 1-1, 2-5 counter of Kiba. So yeah, helps keep our Beat Sticks alive, keep our level 1 Climax combo alive if we really need to. And I guess can be used for our grade 3s, but our grade 3s are pretty big anyway, because one of them's a back row grade 3, so... And rounding off the grade 1s, we have 4 copies of the event, one of the most important cards in the entire deck. It is mill top 2 cards from your deck, and you can salvage a character whose level is equal to or lower the combined levels of what you mill. Climax counts as level 0. So this is the only real mill we have in the deck, and it's the closest thing to a brainstorm that we do have. So it's very important that we do keep that Rias out on the field, and we don't waste a lot of stock. So we want to be getting as much hand advantage as possible from both this card and our level 1 Climax combo. Moving on to grade 2s, we have 2 copies of Rosewise. So Rosewise is an early play bomb, which is really handy. She also has an ability that while she's on the field, you can sack her when one of your characters gets front attack to give them 3k power. So she's an on-field sack counter for 3k, which is nice, considering that you can stand by her out as well at grade 1. And onwards is really decent as well, as she can sit in the back row and your opponent can swing into your level 1 Climax combo, Rias, you can sack her, and then boom, the Rias is at 8-5, which is pretty powerful at level 1. And if you drop a counter, of course, it's going to be 10k. Moving on to grade 3, we have 3 copies of the Rias promo. I only have 1 because it's a box topper. It's like a $35 box topper, but you do need to play this because it is your finisher. It's a little bit lewd in terms of the artwork, but so its first effect is when it comes to player check top, if it is a character, ping 1, and you can also pay 1 to choose one of your opponent's characters, and it cannot be encored this turn, which is pretty nice. But you do need to play 3. It is your finisher. You can play 4 if you really want to drop the money on it, but I definitely don't recommend it. Moving on to our grade 3 Climax combo, and that is Azia. So she's an on-play heal, and she gives global 1-5 to our other characters. And Climax combo, with the standby trigger, all characters on our field get 1-5 power on top of the 1-5 global that she gives. Now, if she is standbyed out from obviously brought out from the standby trigger, her Climax combo does miss timing, which is upsetting a little bit because it's when it's placed, but she heals on play, so she's not great. Like, I think she's played in some of the more competitive builds as a simple one-off because she heals and she's a massive 1-5 global assist, which is great, and she can be standbyed out, which is really good. But, I guess the Climax combo giving everything power is kind of irrelevant in this deck because the grade 3s don't really do anything. Which is a bit of a shame. So, and rounding off the rest of the deck, we have 2 copies of the actual booster, the non-promo Rias. So when she's placed from hand to stage, you can call something that's your level or lower out from the waiting room, which is actually pretty nice. And the other effect is when she attacks, you can pick one of your other characters, and they get plus 1,000 for every character out on the field. Not something you use too often, but it's nice that it's in there, and it can help call out Azia if you really need it. Climax is pretty straightforward. We're playing 4 of the Gate, which combos with our level 1 Zero Rias, and 4 of the Standby, which combos off with our grade 3 Azia. Overall, the deck is relatively consistent for what it can be in a deck that has a very limited card pool. like I said earlier, I'm a little annoyed that Reus got most of the cards. Like, it's almost close to being pretty much 50% Reus. I know that Reus is one of the most popular characters, but surprisingly, Akino, who I'm pretty sure is the second most popular character, only got one card. So, I know with Dead Alive, they gave Kurumi 3 or 4 cards, but they gave everyone at least one card, and there are a lot of characters in DxD who didn't get a card. I know with Dead Alive, they did it up to volume 12, I believe, was the most recent series volume they used apart from the OVAs. But anyway, overall, guys, that is the deck. Hope you guys enjoy it. Let me know your comments below. As always, feel free to add additional cards to the deck. Feel free to mix as much as possible. If you want to see my Koriwa deck profile, let me know in the comments below. If you haven't checked out Dead Alive, please do. Of course, like and subscribe, hit the bell button, all that stuff. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you for my next video very, very soon.